No matter when you grew up, there are certain constants that every kid dreams of. Being a pro athlete, being the hero that saves the day, or finding yourself your very own piece of sunken treasure. And tonight, we have the opportunity for you to cross off one of those childhood goals. This is a real-life piece of shipwrecked silver that has been certified by NGC to be from the famous El Cazador wreck that played a direct part in creating the United States that we know today. These stunning coins, real-life pieces of treasure, are item number 905-10686. 905-10-68-6. And for less than $100, just $99.95, you can get a real-life piece of shipwrecked silver that has been certified by NGC to have been pulled up from the Cazador after over 209 years on the ocean floor. This is one of the coolest things you are going to see on the show tonight, and it's also one of the best values you are going to see by far. These are the half real coins, or the 4 real pieces that were struck by the Spanish Empire. They're the half-dollar version of the 8 real, which would go on to become the basis that our modern-day dollar and coin system would be based on. These are living, breathing pieces of both world history, shipwreck history, and American coinage history. They are considered by many, the real coins, to be the fathers of the American coinage system, because at one point, even Thomas Jefferson himself argued to the Continental Congress that they should be accepted as legal tender until we could replace them with our own coins in the future. Now let's talk about this shipwreck and the coins in these special holders. Now, the Spanish real is actually one of the very first coins that are mentioned in the iconic Red Book that I know most of us have at home. While they have put the old bitcoins right above it, the real design is one of the first things you see, and that's because for the longest time in the Americas, this was the money of the day. Even when we had the German thaler and the Dutch, I believe it was called Dotik, were used in the Northeast, throughout America, the one constant was the real coin. And these were found from a shipwreck that directly resulted in the Louisiana Purchase. Now you see, it was in late 1784. This ship left Veracruz, Mexico. It was a brig of war that was completely loaded with treasure that was bound for the port of New Orleans. However, due to a storm, though they are not exactly certain what happened, this ship would go down and never arrive in harbor. And this was a very, very big deal, because the money on that boat was supposed to save the New World colonies of the Spanish Empire. You see, the Spanish Empire had transitioned to using currency notes in the New World due to the issue with silver being stolen, melted down, and then re-stamped by other nations. This results in the money inflating aggressively, because back then, people really only wanted the silver or gold you could have in your hand. So he sent over 450,000 silver coins, as well as other numerous pieces of gold, jewelry, and high-quality goods like bowls, cups, and the like. And these were supposed to reinvigorate the economy and prop up the local governments of the Spanish Empire. Unfortunately, this boat was lost, and so too was that massive treasure. As a result, many have considered this the shipwreck that changed the world. And that's because, due to the dire financial straits that this loss put the Spanish government, 3 years later, the Louisiana Purchase would take place, and one of the largest additions to the size of the United States would occur thanks to Thomas Jefferson realizing just how valuable that land truly was. This shipwreck was rediscovered back in 2009 when a small trawler ship, ironically called the Mistake, got caught on something with its net. After they spent some time yanking, they were able to hoist up their net, and they discovered that it was caught on several hundred silver dollars. They reached out to experts and had them come in and find out that this was in fact the long-lost El Cazador shipwreck. One of the most iconic shipwrecks in the history of the United States that is not named Titanic, because this one had a much bigger impact on our nation's formation. If this money had ever arrived in New Orleans, there's no saying exactly what would have gone on and just whether or not we would have ever actually been able to purchase the Louisiana Purchase. We've found similar coins from the half real denomination with the El Cazador certification, retailing for over $650 when you can find them out there today. We are more than $550 less at just $99.95, and these are the same half real coins. Now, these coins were also called 4 bits because the 8 real, which was the full dollar denomination for the Spanish Empire, that was routinely cut apart by shipmen and pirates into 8 pieces. So they would be called the pieces of 8, a denomination that was made very famous by the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, bringing the vernacular back up. In fact, there are still parts of the United States today that they'll refer to a quarter as 2 bits, though those areas are getting smaller and smaller because the quarter is not quite the spending power that it used to have. Because of these colonial reals being all over the United States at the time, they ended up heavily influencing our nation's coinage. In fact, of the 2 designs of the real they released, these are the portrait design that feature a bust, which is the actual name of the design in your red book. We call it a portrait because the other design struck before this during King Philip's reign, King Philip V to be exact. They had on one side not a bust, but 2 pillars with 2 globes inside of them, then with the royal arms on the back. However, when they transitioned to this new design, the bust design during King Charles III's reign, they would put the bust on one side and then move those pillars to the other side. And those pillars are what's important because those pillars would actually go on to influence several American coins and actually is where our dollar symbol came from. It is a nod to those pillars. These coins were so synonymous with American commerce that, as I said before, Thomas Jefferson went to Continental Congress and considered making it the official unit of value for at least the time being until we could create our own coinage system and the U.S. Mint could start producing stuff other than 1-cent coins, which were the first coins produced by the United States Mint. All of these are certified as genuine pieces from the El Cazador shipwreck. They are colonial 8 real coins or the 4 real coins struck by the Spanish Empire. We are more than $550 less than our nearest competition, and please make sure you call in now. We've had these El Cazador coins on the show periodically over the years, and every single time we brought them out, they've sold out completely, and there's simply no telling when we're going to get our hands on these coins again. Once you get one of these coins, they become a treasured family heirloom that hardly ever leave the collection. I know my full real and my half real are not leaving mine anytime soon, as I intend to give them to my great-grandkids, because how often can you give someone the gift of real-life shipwreck sunken treasure? Call in now and grab yours while you still can, because before long, these stunning pieces of silver will be lost to history once again.